All right, another episode of the Chameleon Pathos podcast, hosted and sponsored by
Chameleon Pathos.
Chameleon Pathos. What do we want to chat about today, Phoebe? What's on the agenda?
I want to say what different want to talk about the year. I would say like it is like one of the most encountered questions among all of our clients and other people we're being interacted with.
On the internet, I get a lot of questions about this on the internet.
It's about it's about learning language. Also, like and it's definitely will be the most barrier of it. I'm sorry, the first barrier for a lot of people who really want to like whether you live or study and travel abroad. It's a kind of thing like maybe to some people will really be the headache things.
Yes, we had a prior conversation about language already, which you can go check out.
Yeah,
if you would like, but that was more about this idea of given our latest technology developments in the world, especially around the certain technology of AI and all adjacent technologies, do you need to learn the language anymore to be in a new culture and to thrive in that new world? So if you want to hear some of our thoughts on that, you can go check that episode out, which I will link in the description here. But now, if you have made the decision that you do want to learn a language, even understanding the level of necessity now that these other technologies exist, so we're not saying there's no necessity. Again, for those thoughts, you can see that episode. If you have made the decision to learn the language, let's talk about what are some of the best ways to do that. Because I think you would be the master of this conversation, because you have achieved the highest level of language proficiency.
Flatter, no, I'm definitely not that master, but maybe I guess both of us are already being through that. The beginner phase of not knowing like what are exactly things the methods and strategy I can take for learning language. So I would love to share some of my thoughts. Since you already like call me like the master, I feel like okay, I'm not the master, but I do feel like I try to share something and hopefully will help everyone who also being struggle with that kind of situation. So the first, I guess, it's something which I learned from my teacher, because as I mentioned before, so the first thing is you definitely need to figure out your goal of learning any kind of language, and the goal is also strongly linked to a very. I always say it's the most important thing is your passion, the motivation. So these three are pretty important. I would say at the very first stage. That's the thing you definitely need everyone.
Goal and motivation.
Yeah, but also passion will be the field. Sure. Definitely when you are be clear about your goal and motivation, passion will just come along and
hopefully.
Yeah. So I guess the first thing I learned from my teacher, because to me as everyone will know, like maybe I just give some background information for. I can't represent all the young people like me in China, but as far as I know, for most of the young people like me in Shanghai, so English would be like a mandatory subject you need to learn. So at that point, actually learning English is not like a goal. It's like just something like I would say not pretty natural, but something just like
school subject.
Yeah, it's like a math journey. Yeah, if you want to go to like good school and you want to get a good job, and also like Shanghai itself have this very international atmosphere. So especially as far as where I live, you definitely have a lot of the chance to see different kind of foreigners, and you will understand the importance of learning that.
Right.
But even that, to me at that stage, I would say from my primary school and before I go to college. So this kind of part is English more like, I don't have like exact goal. It's like everyone do that. And the people surrounding you say, oh, you should learn that. It's an international language. It definitely help you a lot. So I'm like, okay, I will take it. And also I have to do it well if you want to achieve the academic goal somehow. But I feel like the turning point, which
I'm sorry, not to interrupt, but just for reference of people who might not understand like your level of proficiency, I would say, with the exception of someone who their parents sent them like to a boarding school in the UK or the US, or someone who did their undergraduate degree in the US, for someone who's not spent like super extensive amounts of time out of country, you are the highest level of English proficiency in Shanghai.
Maybe no. Actually, a lot of young
I'm saying among
like that.
But they would have spent a lot of time outside. Because what I think is remarkable about your language abilities is the proficiency you've gotten to without extensive time in country. That's what I think is very impressive. So that's what I'm saying. That's what is there certainly are people who speak English perhaps more naturally or whatever, more comfortable, but like they did their undergraduate degree in the US or in the UK, or in Australia. So that is to be expected. But I'm saying someone who hasn't spent super extensive time outside, you have the highest level for someone who is limited to that.
That's
just again to give reference of where you are, or yes.
I'm very flattered again, and also thank you for bringing this up. It's also like it's actually something I will also include in the in the following that I want to share. It's something about the amount of the time, and also about you exposed to the language environment, which we can talk a little bit more in
I
following
definitely
parts.
Speak to that as
yes. But yeah, I'm glad you bring it up. I would notice that. We'll definitely discuss like deeper. It's actually one of the important parts of today's topic. So like, yeah, just back to the things that when I feel about the first stage, you need to really clear about your motivation to go. So like back at the time, before that time when I go to college, so English is just like mandatory task. You have to do it well. And the only enjoyment and the joyful thing we feel is like, oh, hey, I get like the A-. I'm better than you. Oh, my friend said, oh, shoot, I only get A, like I didn't get A-, I get the B+. So everyone is more like a competition. So every time English more like the fun of learning that is because, and also a lot of time we actually don't have the chance to like actually use the language. When I mean use it, actually you know it's a tool that help you to like evaluate community with those people in the real life situation. It's more about people with kind of like a context, like how many words you understand, like the vocabulary and the how exact you can be in grammar in that level. So it's more about that. So it's not kind of something which it's actually can work as a tool.
Chinese really love like quantified metrics as levels of so how much money you make, how many apartments you have, your education level, like these very like hard standards of what it is. So the numbers and like counting, that's very.
Yeah, I will give like very seems to bring this up. I will bring up like small like examples. So like when you like in the primary school and you're the junior high school, like no, not only primary school, like the full score of English would be 100. So it's why you know that 100. But when you go to like the junior high school and the high school, like so the full score will be 150. So we just love to like. So anyone who like have like, so if you can get that score like over 140 in your high school, which I would say like it's actually so like you definitely reached a grade a certain good level of English, but still like the only deficiency about that is the speaking things. But in Shanghai, we still have a speaking test, but it's more about, it's like all the questions you already know, you already need to just recite it and do that again. So I think through all this phase, I don't feel like we're actually learning English with the goal of like, you really want to use that well in order to communicate with other people, not to mention like will like consider about their, this language applied to different kind of contexts. And also you don't think much about the culture. A lot of times when we have some like question, because we do have some question about like, the American use and the British stuff.
Sure.
I have to question all the time. My teacher said, just shut up and do it. And if you want to get a good score and you just use that way. And I was confused. Why some people, sometimes alternate, sometimes false, like, but which one should I use it? And the teacher said, maybe you just use the one you feel like it's more easy to memorize. Okay, I'll take the 4. So yeah, that's the things happen all along the first phase when I learned English. we are very skillful about doing all this kind of different things about the papers and writing this kind of, I would say, very stupid the essays, like write a letter to your friends in US and make sure you don't make mistakes, and then you know at first you say dear XXS, so the ending will be either sincerely yours XXS or best regards, those kind of stuff, and it will feel like, I mean, right now I still feel like it is I'm not gonna say it is actually the actual way you guys gonna use to write in the letter, but at the time we firmly believe that because that's the only thing we know. I'm being taught in doing that way. So when I was in college, like at the time I feel like
You just did it right there. You said college instead of university, so you definitely learned the American.
I actually still don't know like the different years because it's all like it's like mixed. Sometimes our teacher like. I mean, she definitely like studying in UK, not US. But I guess there's one teacher, like when I met in junior high school, she's more prefer the British way. But when we go to the high school, that lady is more preferring the American way. So like she strongly against we use in the UK when she thinks like it's out of fashion. So like we don't know which one to use.
Sure. Out of fashion.
Yeah, and when we go to by the time we go to the college, and so that's a turning point, which that's this time when I figure out like English become like not only we still such subject, but it's not that as intensive as we did before.
Sure.
But because also we have a lot of free time, and I wonder like I also at that time I have like I was like strong like passion and interest in like watching all these different kind of TV series and movies in English. So at that time that's the time I encountered different kind of the accents, which is really fascinating. So I was like, oh, maybe I would. Yeah, it's more about I really want to like. At the time, I really want to imitate how people speak language in that way because I realized it sounds pretty fascinating. And at the time, we even have a lot of friends who we were share like our experience on how to imitate for different accents. So some of my friends they prefer the British accent, also the RP accent. They would do that. Other prefer
the what?
The RP, like the British accent, where a lot of people will use that if they work for news and radio.
What is RP? Royal.
Yeah, it's the accent they said from
RP
pronunciation, I guess.
Not important, but sorry.
Yeah, that's all we know. And yeah, at the time I mean, a lot of my friends, even and also they still like as a great example because we have this strong passion about the love of this consuming like tons of the materials of this like the whether British and American like TV series and movies and podcasts and the audio books. And now, like, they are still, like, at pretty, even, like, better level than me. And they are still using this language. So at that point, I feel like, oh, I really want to know more about how to learn this language better. Because I feel like I really want to try to, like, if I want to watch the TV series and I'll try to catch up how they're doing for the lines or something, I really I think it's not about the grammar knowledge. You need to really understand how to pronounce things well and also know more about the context of their culture. That's why I signed up the minor major of English. So I at first I feel like it's probably even it's like English minor major, and also it's some course directed by those very professional teachers who their major are in English. But I actually most of the course actually are still like about try to like really sharpen your skills about grammar and spelling. Try to like really like speed up your reading skills. Like you need to know how to skimming, like try to like read it in a very fast speed and something. And if you want to stay in the class, you have to pass a lot of exams. To me, at first, and to everyone for that course, it's a nightmare. I feel like it is. I kind of hate English at that point. It's every week. What I expect is like you just tell us more about like how to understand this language itself well, and also maybe talk more about the origin of the language or something. Sure. But it turns out like just endless of papers and tests. So there's like we've been struggling and finally successfully survived about the first 4 weeks, and the amount of people attend for the course started from 500 plus, now reduced downside to like only less than 200 or also less than 150. So then they start to change the way of how they teach us, because they still had before it's like a pre-test, so to try to know like you're passionate about this learning the language. I don't think that actually will work. I mean, we're scared of people that really want to learn that. I mean, that's not a good way. But maybe to them, they have no choice, because every year a lot of young people like us say, "Oh, we really want to learn English," and they spend a lot of the efforts and time to teach them, and actually don't, because they can't make any money from like teaching students from the this minor major course. So they really want to like being selective about the quality of the students. That's why they do this. Like, and then they say, sorry, we're being dick and so mean to you, but that's the thing we have to do. And the moment I'm very shocked and also a little bit mad. I feel, but yeah, but I kind of understand them, because a lot of the, I mean, my friend and I, we met in the class. We definitely are pretty like good students. We really want to enjoy the course. Yeah, there is, I would say, a large amount of the students who come there just want to hang out and chill. What their expectation about this minor major class is everyone enjoy like just people. The maybe teacher just give you some of your classic English movies or something. You just watch, maybe write some essays and you can pass. So that's why I somehow understand why they do that. But yeah, and also, so I want to say the details about the things I learned from minor major. So it lasts for 3 years, but a lot of the important skills and things I learned from that, which I think I can share. I think it could be applied for any of the language learning. So I really want to share to everyone. So I'd be rambling a lot about that.
No. I'm also just kind of looking at the time, and I'm thinking, well, maybe we just make this episode about the experience of what it's like to learn English in China, and we could do a separate something
for
that's
sure.
the other topic of.
Yeah, there will be a lot of things to share.
So yeah, please.
Today is more about like a general process about that. So like
No. I'm thinking we make this one about what is
cool.
Just specifically learning English in China.
Yeah, for sure.
So please continue and let us know what that was like.
So like I remember there's one thing about the pronunciation. Definitely, our teacher is more like definitely prefer the British style, but he is also like you can also like choose the American style. So all
right. So now this would be an interesting point for you to go deeper into. Give us the percentages of who chose what, maybe some of the reasons why people chose one or the other. I have guesses, but go.
Maybe you can just list out your assumption first.
I mean, it comes down to like most of the decisions I think of them would be which they have more affinity for. Do they like the U.S. culture? If people say we have a culture, right? When that's going to be more media, Hollywood, music, etc. Or do they like the U.K. because they think it sounds smarter, perhaps, or a little fancier, elegant? And then obviously, if they have general future plans or interest to study in one place or the other, that would be a reason to choose one. But I'm gonna guess, if we're talking about Shanghai, are we talking about Shanghai or your university?
I
think either way, it's gonna.
They're from different cities, so like.
That's what I'm saying. I would say generally in Shanghai, the majority would be that they study American English, and then I would say in general in China, it's also going to be a preference for American English, but smaller of a majority. Shanghai is going to be like a super majority for American. The rest of China, there's still going to be more, but it would be more like 60-40. Shanghai would be like 85-15.
Okay. So now, like, because again, we don't give any enough sample to prove that. But just as far as
just anecdotal, your friends and
from my class.
Yeah.
At the time, that's my observation, because all students are in one classroom. That's the first time, because we are about to choose which type of pronunciation you really want to, like, just go further.
Yeah.
So it's the starting class about the pronunciation class. So like you can see like the two piles of the textbook. So like so the left side is the standard American pronunciation one. The other is the
it's
British.
Similar to 北方南方. Do you want to study Beijing standard, add an R at the end, Chinese, or do you want to study more of like a neutral, what you would hear in the South? It's that sort of difference. It's not like learning a different language, but you need to understand, for example, in Chinese, not because this is about English in China, but for like the metaphor of it is when you study in the textbook, for example, the word to have fun.
Mm-hmm.
The pinyin, which is the romanization of Chinese for children and foreign learners, for those not aware, it's W-A-N. Wan.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want the northern accent of the standard, you're going to add an R on the end of that to be war. But you'll never hear it in Shanghai from the true Shanghainese.
Yeah.
You'll never hear war. It'll always be wan. So if you go around saying war, it's like people understand you, but you're clearly outsider, did not learn the Chinese of that place. Yeah. I remember like when I first arrived in Taiwan, like day one, I said something like EDR. Because I was before that, I was only learning textbook learning on my own, and all of the standard materials are Beijing.
That
accent.
Makes sense.
And so I get there and they're like, EDN? I'm like, yes. And they like kept correcting me because I kept saying it. Sorry, not to go, but it's not a different language. It's just like there are obviously certain words, phrases, and then general tonation that you just have to be clear on day one what you're going to do, because mixing it all up is that's going to be tough.
Yeah, so let's bring back to that moment where and ours, even for now, like our friends say, it's like a historic moment for us, and because again,
it decides your fate, your destiny.
Yeah, but
the outside world.
Then when our teacher announced that, I will give you like 15 minutes, you can just discuss for that, and he also so I remember there's like he said, if you choose the American style, I will be your teacher. I'm now like, since you're discussing, I will bring the other lady, who if you choose the UK one, you're gonna be in her class. So like, and in his style, and everyone like, it's like this classroom is so like exploded. Everyone's like, what am I going to do? And I remember there's one of friend. It's so funny, and she's like, what am I gonna do? I'm going to like. Because it's got the goal for her, like, study in this course, because she's, I think she's about to, like, study in Australia in 1 year. So she's like, do they also have, like, Australian accent? And she's like, what am I going to do? Will that be okay? And then we're like, probably just choose American, and there's more universal one. And until we, at that moment, we kindly suggest her, maybe you can change your accent by the time you are there. But still, like, they're English. And she's like, okay, I will take that first. But also, some of this other friends suggest maybe you should choose the British accent, because we've heard some Australian talking that before. Like, to us, it sounds more similar to the British accent. And she's confused, and she's like, she's really don't know what to do, because she really wants to be like fully prepared by the time when she go to the Australia, and no one gonna like mock at her, and she's really frantic at the moment. It's still like very funny. Yeah, and so when teachers back, and I mean obviously, so I was talking about my reason, because I definitely choose the American style, because so the first thing is it's very weird is our textbook actually was designed by call it Oxford and all the professors from the UK. But the audio part, I mean, from my primary school, definitely like, I think it's a British style, the RP style. But somehow it's just changed to the American style when I think it's from the junior high school. So it's like I definitely feel the difference, but I don't know why. I feel like maybe just I also asked my teacher, and she said, you just need to follow that. So that's right now that is the right version. I was like, okay, but I don't know what's the difference. But now like I know that's the time when we actually change all the materials, and also like the other reason I would say is it's actually will be a little bit weird. I mean, if you actually, in Shanghai, rarely you will see people actually use the British accent, and people generally think if you use British accent, a little bit posh. So like so it's like, and also most of us won't want to be like be like that obvious. If you use that accent, we just want to be normal. And I mean, since as far as we know, like most of our people would choose the normal accent, which is American one. So like we definitely choose that. It's only one of, I think, so the percentage of so from that day, I guess 90% of students choose American style. Some of them, the reason from my assumption will be they do have a strong passion and love for the American culture because they definitely like that, and that's the reason why I drive them to attend this course. Some of them they don't care. They actually know little about the culture. They more care about the practical aspect because it's a more universal accent to them. So the 10% of them they are because so before they attended to the private school, they thought that so like that's why how the British accent to them is the normal accent. So they've been exposed to that environment for like a pretty long time. So it would be weird for them to actually like change their accent to the American one. So they choose that, and they leave the classroom, and the rest of us and stayed in there, and then we just continue our lesson in there. Yeah, it's actually pretty funny, and I realized, oh, actually they I do know they have different kind of accent, but it's from that day that I realized actually you could switch. It's not because like there's one right and the other one's wrong.
Well, you got to be a chameleon.
Yeah.
If you show up in the UK, you can't just.
And speaking of that, my friend, a pretty frantic one, like really like worried about her future in Australia, and she asked our teacher I would say our teacher, and he said, oh, no worry, you know what, maybe you can, since you choose my course, maybe you spend half your time fit in this class, then I would suggest you to go to the other classroom. So by the time you mingle with two accents, then you get the Aussie one. It's pretty simple. And she's like, what? But yeah, I don't know if it was joking or somehow, but she stayed in our classroom, and somehow by the time she go to Australia, she managed to change her accent within a year. So
nice.
I guess it's more about the environment. Yeah, because she's really worried. And also, I guess her mindset, which I want to share with everyone, is a lot of us, we tend to have this kind of the mindset. It's very common. Like, we really want to like get fully prepared, especially for the pronunciation. I feel like and also like I've searched some of the information online, so to Chinese people. Actually, I would say like it will be very intense if you speak English in front of our own people.
What do you mean? What do you mean it's very in front of? I don't know.
It's, for example, if now I'm speaking with one of my people, the other Chinese boy or girl, I will be very nervous. Probably I won't speak English in this way, because I will think like, what if they think I'm a little bit posh, use this, or what if like they think my pronunciation is not correct, they think it's like, and obviously I can't be like as correct as.
So you're saying your how close you can be to some native is kind of like a status thing, like a status game. Is that?
Yes, I feel like this is one of the most concerned things, which is also like the something which hinder our people to learn at the first stage, like just prevent them to like really like being bold to speak up. That's the thing. That's also the things I learned from the course, because and our teacher, he said, I know what you're thinking about. The first thing even if it's about pronunciation class, you do need to try your best to imitate those. But
Sure.
the shortest phase, try to not compare yourself to the others. I know it's very hard to ask you to do it right away, and you've all been through the very competition mode from the first day you go to primary school until here. So the only thing you need to do is just be bold and just be okay if whatever mistake you might make at the pronunciation class, because probably a lot of things you probably never know you might make this kind of mistake. Because everyone in the classroom I would say they're all the elites of elites of that English level. I mean, definitely you see before we've all been through different tests and whatever things. So everyone thinks they are just like those rappers in the rap competition. Everyone thinks they are the they're
Hold
the
on.
masters.
You're referring to the television series that we sometimes
Yeah.
watch, which is basically like American Idol, but for Chinese rappers.
Mm-hmm.
Continue.
Yes, I remember that was pretty. I would say my friends and I, we obviously we think we're good at the writing part, like the reading part, but we do feel like we still can't speak very well. But some of them, they are pretty. I would say they're pretty cocky at the time, because they definitely being because we most of us are from public school. Obviously they're from the private one, which they being exposed to the native speakers more than we do. But it turns out, in the end,
that's all. I mean, that's a whole nother. That's completely different. Like someone who gets sent to SAS, for example, Shanghai American School, one of the. They basically, when you speak to them, for a multitude of reasons, it's like they grew up in the U.S.
Yeah.
It's the environment. It's also just like the general philosophy of education / interaction they have with the teachers. It's basically like an oasis from. Not oasis is the wrong word, but it's when they're in that school, they're basically being taught exactly like an American, down to the level of the teachers. A majority of the teachers might be from there.
Yeah.
So they're not only is it the language, but it's the mindset aspect of it as well, to where they completely sound like it. But that's so different than going to the Chinese school. Europe, it's you can't you can't compare yourself to their progress.
Yeah, but at the time we do know there the difference between us kids from public school and those from private one, because I do have some friends who are study from the kindergarten going to high school. They're being there and they know, but even that, and she said, actually, if you are not motivated enough, you don't have the passion of learning this language. She said, you know what? A lot of my friends can speak as well as you do, even if they are being fully exposed, even if they're being sent away to UK or whatever Western country, like the boarding school or something. And she you know why these things will happen. That's the thing that it's from one of my internship when I was work at the English Learning Center, called EF. There's another girl who she been studying living US since she was in the junior high school. So that's why she just surprised I can speak English at that kind of level. Maybe it's not as good as those people who live there, and she wondered if I've been also like her, being lived abroad for somewhere. I said no, I've never been there for even one day. And she said that is pretty remarkable. And we talk about something and exchange those thoughts, and that's the moment I really just try to recall because at that time I've been studied in a minor major course for 1 year and a half, and also at this time what I learned from our teacher is you need to so, and he said right now I will need you to do the first thing is try to change try to set yourself a fully immersed language environment, and we asked how, and he said right now and he said that's the way how I train my kid, and his son is now have speak real I was it just like a native speaker in US, and his son's never been to private school. All seem to do is just being fully exposed into like a English environment. And he said he shared something about the way he trained his sons. He said like since he's like 6 or 4, all the reading materials and audio things his son might expose are all in English. But because his son have enough time to be exposed to the Chinese ones well, because he go to public school, and that should be a problem. Yeah, and he's trying to expose his son to like I would say the multi-language environment as much as possible. And he suggests that it's even like it's so like starting. If you can start earlier, it'll be best. But right now, still like you still can change it. So the first thing you to do, just change your phone setting, the language setting from Chinese to English. That's the habit I keep into now. Like also my language setting will be English. The first is really it's really uncomfortable.
It's very uncomfortable because there's a lot of terms on there that are like kind of technical.
Yeah, a lot of them. I mean, I'm nearly at the edge of like I want to switch to my comfort zone, the Chinese.
Because you're also scared of like doing something that's permanent, like might permanently affect or damage or something.
And everyone's like everyone's like how like what if we want to do and we switch back? And he said, oh well, it's just my suggestion. If you really because I guess you've been putting a lot of time and effort because for attending this course, some background information, we don't have any weekends because it's the only time we can attend the course. And he said, since you already sacrifice your valuable weekend time while other of your peers enjoy their nice sun, maybe just hang out with their girlfriend and boyfriend, you guys just stay here like a nerd and do that. I'm sure you definitely want to gain something. It's not only just writing papers.
Yeah.
So do you want to change?
Do you want to change?
Yes, and I feel like, yes, I've really like sacrificed all my weekends here. I definitely don't just want to watch some stupid movies. I can do it on my own. Definitely, I want to know more. So I feel like I need to push myself a little bit more. So I said, yeah, all right. And I do that right away in that classroom. And my friend said, oh, you really do that right now? Do you think you should? And I said, why not? She said, maybe you should remember the sequence and the position of this different kind of the term on the phone. So like, by the time when you change it, actually, even if you don't know that, you do remember where they are, right? Or like, oh, you're so smart. Maybe I should remember them. Anyway, it sucks at the first time. At the first.
It's tough. Yeah.
The first month, it is like I feel like I'm an idiot. So this is not my phone, and also like I did delete all of my Chinese book. Whatever books I want to read, I just try to read them in English. So like according to my teacher's theory, like you should be like you should bomb yourself with all sorts of English materials, which is the language you're learning right now. And he said vice versa. If you're learning Spanish, whatever language you're learning, that's the same thing. But first start with English because you all have like a good amount of the vocabulary of English. So you are actually it's easier for you to do this. But yes, still like it is very hard to you actually realize you've been actually putting the environment of that. And he said if you can't do it right now, I mean also like most of us were go like have the plans about study abroad. And he said, do you think you're really gonna survive there by the time there? Right now you just change your setting and expose to the environment. And he said, if you can't do that, I'm sure like I can really like foresee your future there. You're probably just going there, attend the courses. Yes, you can finish all your assignments in English with the help of translators. Right. And he said, I don't want any of my students end up in this way. And I'm sure you won't dare to interact with the local people because you can't change your setting of the phone.
Yeah.
And he's been really intense at the time, but I do think that it's a fair point because I do have my plan of studying abroad. I've tried to like really like use the language as a tool to interact with the people there. If I can just make this small step and being fully like, I mean I feel like, and he said it's kind of like a kid's pool before you actually just go to like swimming sea. If you can't survive in this kind of phase, How do you think you were gonna do that? Even if you do that, to end up you just interact with it's a small circle of your own people, and you are actually not experience the real environment of any of the country you are going to. So he said that really sucks, and he's strongly against us to do that. And he said a lot of the students, even they are majoring English, because they're afraid of step out of the comfort zone. And even a lot of them might study there and live there for like years. When you're back, they lack of the knowledge of their culture context.
Yeah,
not
or just like natural.
Yeah,
the feeling of it being natural.
Yeah, they do know how to pass exam. They can do their.
So yeah, another thing again, generally, the English proficiency level in East Asia, it's generally people will say Korea, then China, then Japan.
So it's very fresh.
Well, I would say I think that is the ranking, but I'm saying like what that means, and particularly in the case of China, is that they can pass written exams. So like they'll know all vocab words, they'll know, but then when you speak to them, they'll freeze up, don't understand what you're saying, and like won't be able to speak naturally. So yeah, I think that is generally what, as far as I've seen, one of the downfalls, and I think it's because there's just not a sufficient amount of native language teachers, and so it's like again, I don't want to be mean, but like some of these people Chinese people who I've met who are English teachers, I'm like, dude, what? Like this is what the next generation is learning English. It's like, but it's just there's just not a sufficient amount of native speakers who are willing to go over and do that.
Exactly.
So yeah, it's just like obviously if someone who doesn't speak great English is teaching these kids English, like it's just gonna repeat the issue.
So yeah, so I want to bring up this story. That's not only because a turning point for me, and also I do think some of the things what my teacher suggests us at the time are prettier. I would say it's a pretty great, and also like I still think if ever are able to like apply them to whatever language you're using, I would think it would be very helpful. And yeah. And also the other things what I mentioned about it's the other thing we encounter in the class. So and he said, so in order to like really because since you are signed up in this course, so we would definitely want to give you like a different experience than those English course you've had before. And he knew like a lot of us from public school we don't have enough, like I just say, it's the chance for us like being like exposed to like a native speakers are pretty rare. I mean, it's not like zero, but pretty rare.
Yeah. I mean, in Shanghai, that's going to be the highest density too. So just the fact that
for public school,
a professor, also a teacher or professor saying that in Shanghai gives people an idea that in the rest of China, like they're rarely going to run into someone who speaks English as a foreign language or as a native language.
Especially for the public school kids.
Right.
Yeah, and also he said, we're gonna like give you some of the courses will be like directed by like the foreigners. I say, and we say great, and he said trying to like just kind of like just like how I was like kind of give you sort of the environment, help you just get over your fear of like to speak with the foreigners, and we say it's great. But the thing is, when he mentioned about foreigner, no offense, but I feel like you already know what might happen. So like maybe you should give some background story about people, what Shanghainese would prefer those foreigners they wish to speak with as like language learner.
You can say whatever you want to say. I'm just going to sit here and listen.
Yeah, it's actually it's from not only from the course, but also from my internship from the English Learning Center. Yeah. Okay. So the background information is, so generally, no offense, but Shanghainese people, like they are like they think if I spend the money, send my kids to the language learning center, not only the teacher should be a foreigner, but preferably they should be people from.
We'll give the order. You can go through the list. There is a.
I just really feel like people go.
No, it's you're telling the truth. You're just don't shoot the messenger. You're passing along. This is something that I think people should be aware of. There's a hierarchy.
There are hierarchy. Yeah.
So there is a nationality component.
Yeah.
And there's a racial component.
Yeah.
And so if you could run through that and let everyone know, I think that would be very valuable.
Yeah. No offense. It's just from the observation, and also like.
No one's taking offense.
Yeah. It's like the. I won't say it's a hierarchy, but. Generally,
it's a hierarchy because there's the level of demand is in accordance with this hierarchy, but also pay rates.
Pay rates. Yeah. That's the thing that I've observed. It's like, okay, most parents prefer those foreign teacher, not only from the Western country like U.S., UK, Australia.
Again, break down the hierarchy.
Mm-hmm.
So first do the nationality portion.
Mm-hmm.
What are, from the Shanghainese, the most desired nationalities of their English teachers for their children?
I would say actually the first one it's pretty hard to define because, so for example, if a teacher is from U.S. and he is white, if he's white, then
you don't have to apologize. I told you.
Probably it's the one of the top one options.
Okay.
But if a teacher from U.S. and he is from the other, it's not like from not white people, like the other races, or from other races, probably he's not on the top options. And the places where he worked for will have to stress out the nationality to make sure those parents are doing a good deal.
Sure.
So if in that situation, if a teacher is not like white people from US, then the teacher from UK will be the top option.
Yes.
That's the simple example. And I would say like all of this, not my assumption, but these are the observations. Again, everyone are pretty are friendly. Our teacher they have a good decent. So like there are two teachers. They are all like so one is like African American. The other teacher, the lady, is like African British. So like they take turns to give us classes. I would say they are very professional, and also they are very nice. And I totally feel okay because I feel like they are good teachers, and they are also foreigners. I mean, I feel like that is exactly what we expected. Because also like I from my knowledge, I do know like foreigners are not about white people, but only like a few of the students, they are actually like, I mean, they're not doing any disrespectful things for a teacher. They respect the teachers, but they do feel like they've been cheated. So I heard about later after we finished the whole course, some of them, I said very rare of them, like even just like, I think they're like make complaints to the other teachers. They're like, it's
about their pay.
I won't say about the pay, because actually we don't need to pay a lot of money, but they still feel like they're cheated. It's not their
treatment.
Yeah, they feel like
cheated in what way?
I mean, maybe their expectations in when you mentioned you give us like a native speaker environment. What we expect.
I'm sorry, you're saying the parents feel cheated.
No. The students, some of the students.
Oh, the students.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about the teachers. I was like, in what way? So you mean, yes. Okay.
Yeah. And they feel like
they sign up, they pay the full tuition, and then they don't have what they think is the ideal nationality and racial makeup.
They feel like those teachers, the reason why they invite those teachers because they have like a lower pay rate. And they say, but we heard the other universities also have the minor major course, but they invite white people. Why do we have this? And when I heard about story, I was like, oh, I wish our teacher don't hear about our story. And I feel like really bad for that because I feel like they are. I mean, I don't feel like they're being they are not being paid well. I don't think that's the reason, but. but those students say, yes, we know, we actually do our research. So to them, like, but they maybe from the perspective of like the customer, but yes, we do pay the money. So it's not like it's like free course. So it's okay for them to have some like demands or, just not meet their requirements. So that's what it's also like. So these things and linked with the other thing what I observed from the internship, obviously part-time job from the English Learning Center, what is we have different like people, like I would say that some of the European, some of they're from Australia or something, but I noticed there is some they have a lot of the name card of the teacher, so and also their photo. You will realize a lot of time, I mean, there is a huge wall, so that the first things you will see like there's their pictures, so actually, and then the name, but the nationality is pretty. It's like
prominent.
Not that prominent.
Oh, not that prominent.
It's the name and the pictures. And the interesting is a lot of the time, so like, I don't know if they place that is on purpose, but they do know the psychology of those Chinese parents well. And so I remember there's one time, so there's a mother take her kid like 4 or 5 years old, come maybe they have the interest want to like enroll kind of their natural spelling course, which is pretty a popular one. So like there are these other the teacher who's a Chinese teacher responsible for that, and also there is I think it's American teacher who's also like just they are talk with this mother and ensure her like your kid, if you enroll today, and also like right now we still have a lot of the slot for your kid, so make sure she will be in the class which have the native speaker teacher she was. They didn't mention that like clearly, but it is something
yeah.
So then I'm confused, and also like that teacher like remind me, because I know little about how the game play there. It's the first time I've been close to him, and she said later just put this girl Angel like because I think the mom enrolled like pretty quickly, and immediately assigned her daughter like name English name Angel, and he said you will take this kid to the other class. So which I remember the teacher is like the African American, and she said so like also like the parents were not allowed to like get inside. He says all the parents are not allowed to go like deeper inside. But and I'm confused, and I say, don't you like agree like she will be go to that class of the other teacher, which is like I see the white people, and she said yeah, but there's so many kids. So those teachers that one only are so that class with the white teachers class are pretty popular, and somehow you have to pay like higher, amount of the tuition to get in there. And so in order to attract parents to get in, actually all the teachers all have the same amount level of the I would say the English level and the pronunciation, they are all standard. They are all standard. But to get parents enrolled in, normally they only have the white teacher to like get parents like I would say the free example course
sales pitch,
like one
lead
magnet, and I'm so confused. I say, well, do some parents will think,
oh god,
her kid get cheated or something? And she said no, and all the kids like at this age, all they remember they have like a funny and happy time. Even the parents like us, the kids only were replied it's a foreigner, but I say but they might notice the difference of the skin color and say yeah, but by the time like they already like learned for a while, and also like if she protests then she'll be racist. I'll say oh
yeah, but they might not care that they're being racist.
I don't know about the story after that, because I think all the kids are happy and parents are happy. Actually, I think some of the parents know, like, actually they are like teacher, not white people, but they still pretty much like all the teachers anyway. So I feel like it's only very few of the parents, maybe they think like they still have the stereotype like, oh, I paid this money, so like
Sure.
they generally think like only the white people can speak that standard English.
Right.
Actually, a lot of time, like those people might from the European country, actually English not their first language.
Yes.
So like, yeah, you never know. But when I remember, like, I feel like the older generation also have this. Most of them will have this stereotype. I remember I mentioned to my one of my pretty old relatives about like my minor major course, and I mentioned how we do have foreigners like just like teacher, and she said, oh, where like where does he like where's he from? And I said, I can tell maybe he's from like actually it's pretty rude, but you know our people, like we just want to know like, where they're from, and I think our teachers from US, because I just from the nationality, and she said, but I knew like in US have different kind of people, like different type. I think, what do you mean different type? Oh, there suddenly it occurred to me that she want to know the what race, and I was like, I said maybe I think he's from he's like African American. I said I already feel very bad, and also then and she's like, oh, feel so sorry for. I mean. I said, what? Why? I think the teacher is pretty great, and we all like him. And she said, you a poor kid. You're definitely being cheated by your school. They definitely just try to, just treat you like have like some like a native speaker, and then give you teacher from actually not from that kind of place. I said, what do you mean from that kind of place? They are. I mean, they speak like decent level of English and pretty standard, and they are native speakers from whatever aspects. And she still insists I'm getting cheated, and she even talked to my mom, said, why do you let your kids enroll this kind of like not professional course, which hired like this kind of teacher? And my mom very confused, but a lot of like there are different kind of people of different kind of country, and as long as they can speak decent level of English, that's the goal. Like, you go to that course, just learn language. It's not about it can't be that just I mean, I won't say my mom used the word racial, but she still feel racist, but she feel like it's weird. You have to like pick the skin color, not. I think we all feel like it's more about the level of the English. It's not about the racist thing, but still, like, a lot of people in older generation will think in that way. So
they most certainly will.
The other anecdote is from the other city. Like, I think it's like from one of my friends. He said like when her cousins in the private school, and their school like hire like African American teacher. A lot of the parents write letters to the headmaster to say they want to change the teacher, and they feel like they just feel like they're cheated, and they threaten the headmaster, if you don't change the teacher, they're gonna just report it to the upper level of the officials. I was like, wow, it's pretty wild. I feel like now like people like are generally more. I definitely they feel like they are not. I would say like. I wasn't. It's picky or something like they. I feel like they generally know.
I mean, the word we would use is racist, but yes, selective. The term you're going to use is selective. We would say generally that's racist.
I think that's.
But I know the Chinese well enough to. What you mean is selective.
I feel like the way they say this kind of thing is more about the
it's being selective. That's what it is.
But I would say selective, not only about like, that's the thing I want to like bring up the idea. I feel like I'm not complaining about those stereotypes our people have, but I do feel like sometimes if you're learning language, not only about, so it's like from those stories I shared, maybe show like extreme part of that about being too selective. You're being too picky about even the teacher. You have to like being so picky about where they're from. I don't feel that that's a necessary thing to do, and it should be more focused on about yourself, how to put yourself into a very immersive language environment. A lot of people just try to like just being more selective about the outside idea, the other stuff, which I don't think it's not the priority they should consider.
Which we can talk about another time. We can talk about our specific, perhaps, pieces of advice for learning the language. We can do that. We could do that another time.
Yes, there are a lot of things to share.
Yes.
So today I think we're generally share about the something what I experienced from the like
learning English in China.
In China. I feel like maybe again, it's not the thing that represent all the people from China. There are some people maybe they're being exposed to a very decent environment of the language, which is I feel it's very lucky for them to have that. But so I feel like it's also like universal thing. If you do start to like learning a language, we want to talk about what might be those factors like prevent people like from like really like actually learning language in a pretty I would say not only efficient but also like a enjoyable way. So apparently some of story I share with it probably not is a good example for people learn language in that way. So a lot of things I shared before going to college, the learning process about learning about English is more like a task. So that's the things that I definitely don't wish everyone were experience that. That's very I was that's very horrible. But also like I'm sure maybe sorry, I'm rambling a lot about this, about all the things I experienced about learning English in China. Perhaps you can also share some of stuff maybe next time from your side. I'm sure we could definitely.
I think I had a very different language learning experience.
I was going to say also a good way for everyone to like just compare these two different learning process and see maybe they will feel they've been there before. And I think as we agreed on like sharing vulnerability is always a good way to see yourself grow in that process. Since we're about approaching to the end, there is one place I really want to share with everyone. If you do have similar like issues about learning a new language or feeling struggle with about how to relocate smoothly abroad and adapt to local culture, there's one magical place. You can definitely find a lot of your own people there and thrive and grow there. It is our Chameleon Club, which is designed for whatever your experts or students or business people who wish to thrive and really see yourself grow into this cross-cultural context. We're excited to see you guys there, and you are in, and definitely we wish to see everyone share their stories there, and step by step every day. I think we can all grow together, and it's excited to say.
What is this? What is it called, and where can they go to find it?
Oh yeah, sorry. So it's called Chameleon Club. And you will see the link in the description.
Yes.
So again, very excited to see you guys there.
Yeah.
Until next time.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.